Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Today I am joined by Luke Melrose, founder of All That Creative, a video production company known for high impact real estate and commercial video campaigns. Luke, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, Luke, can you tell us a little bit about your role at All That Creative?
Yeah, I'm the founder of All That Creative. I'm also the creative director, so I handle a lot of the creative writing myself and directing.
So, what current trends are you seeing in your marketing space right now?
Yeah, I mean, we work in a whole variety of industries. I would say it's no secret that a lot of companies like mine, AI is a huge trend, both in just implementing it in our process and how we actually create videos, and also the end product itself. A lot of media is just full generative AI. So yeah, implementing AI. AI is a very broad term, obviously, but we're trying to get on that bandwagon of making sure that we're staying up to date with whatever those trends are. And so a lot of people are implementing it in writing, and you'll see a lot of AI ads out there that are just full generative AI. There's a lot of great examples, there's a lot of crappy examples, but yeah, I would say implementing AI is obviously the number one trend right now.
And is AI something you implement specifically in your agency as well to make yourself more efficient and also to your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the number one way that I would use AI is mostly with research. Typically, especially with like a new client that's being onboarded, and if it's for an industry that we either haven't serviced before or we have a limited knowledge of, you know, their industry or their company, we use AI for research. And so historically, I mean, I would go into their website, we'd have a lot of discovery calls, and we would just take a deep dive into like hearing from them talking about their company, looking at their website, any other material that's written about them. And then, that could take days of just
Yeah.
research. So AI has like condensed that into just, you could just get very quick research. And so that's saved a ton of time. That would probably be the number one way I'm using it, just on the pre-production side.
No, that makes sense. A lot of agency owners use it as a sort of a brainstorming tool. Are you aware of like the workflows that are out there that can sort of connect different points?
Yeah, I mean, there's no like, it's a little bit of the Wild West right now. I wouldn't say there's
Oh
like
yeah.
any set workflow of implementing AI. I mean, like I said, I use it in research, but I mean, we're use you know, a lot in editing as well. There's a lot of AI software in how we edit our ads, replacing visual effects, animation. There's a lot of ways that we've been implementing AI. I was saying earlier that we've implemented it into the final product. Like a lot of clients are asking for, they see other examples of like a competitor making fully generated AI videos. So something that looks like user generated content, but it's just fully AI. A lot of them are asking for that just because they're looking for something that's cheaper, something that they can make a higher volume of. And so, yeah, just recently we've been implementing that in what we offer to our clients. So it's been great.
Yeah.
But it is the Wild West. There's no like set way that, how to use AI in your workflow. I mean, there's a trillion soft programs out there, and that's changing rapidly every week, and every month it changes, so that like the number one video software for like generating video shots that are fully AI, it might shift to a totally different program. So
Do
yeah.
you personally think it's up to the standard now to sort of be, used for social media or even for campaigns potentially?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's inconsistent, so I'll break it down. So like for generating, let's just say a shot of like a product, like here's a product of something that we've shot recently. So it's like if I have a product, you know, it's very good at like, you can scan products and like train an AI model to like create a lot of great product shots, but there's not a lot of expression that a product does. It's either sitting on a table, being held by a hand. So the quality of that, you can create some great shots. The quality of like, if you wanted like an actual person who's like an AI model, like a fashion model,
Yeah, or like an influencer.
like an influencer, yeah, the quality is inconsistent. There's a lot of programs from HeyGen to, I mean, there's a whole bunch of programs that you can use, and sometimes you can tell it's fake, other times it's just has that, it's in that uncanny valley. I would say that we're probably just a couple months away from some program out there being like almost indistinguishable from reality. There's obviously examples out there that look like near perfect. Like I've fallen for stuff before that I thought was real, and then I realized, wait, this is just AI,
We've
but
all
it's inconsistent. Yeah, it's inconsistent. It's not always spitting out the same exact results every time. And so, yeah, hopefully that
I
answers the
was
question.
I was I don't know if you spend a lot of time on social media, but I was one of the ones that fell for the rabbits jumping on the trampoline video, and that was AI
Yeah.
generated.
Yeah. So there's like random examples like that. That yeah, there's obviously, like, an example of, like, great AI content. I think what a lot of people think is that, oh, you just type in, like, "Have someone talk about this product who looks like this," and it just, like, magically spits out a video, and that's just we're just not there yet. I think it's coming, but for me and for my purposes, like, I know that I can give a way better product if I'm, like, hyper controlling every little detail. So, for example, if it's like a influencer AI video talking to the camera, like, I would like to be able to correct or change, like, when the pauses are and when they're speaking, like, how often they're smiling, what kinda hand gestures they're using, what kinda background they have. There's software that you can change a little bit of those things, but it's not, like, perfect full control. But, I mean,
Uh-huh.
like I said, we're months away from getting to that place. I mean, it's already in terms of, like, visual effects, I mean, that you can get great results depending on
Yeah.
what the effect is.
But you know what's really great with what you just mentioned? It's like I would be using like an AI tool for video production, and I would just have, just simple video, like you just said, like a simple prompt, because I wouldn't really know the potential. Now you're in production, so you have all that knowledge of what to expect, what's good, what's not so good. So you actually using that tool makes, like, in a way you have a superpower, right?
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, people in my industry, some of them are freaked out that, "Oh, man, AI is gonna make, me obsolete," and I just don't share that fear. I mean, I have a lot of experience in, like, actually crafting video and crafting stories, and, like, I know how I want the product to be shown. I mean, AI could just be a replacement for, a guy with a camera rather than,
Mm.
like, a whole creative. So, I don't think AI is gonna fully ever replace creative because at some point, when it does replace, like even if it replaces a majority of creative, it's all gonna just not be creative anymore. It's all gonna just be, like, flat all across the board in terms of just, like, what the content is. It's all gonna look the same, so nothing's gonna
Uh-huh.
stand out. If I'm doing my job well, I'm addressing what's on the customer's mind with my messaging and captivating them right there with a hook, and I'm also, like, creating content that's, like, engaging the type of person that I'm reaching. So, there's a lot more that goes into creating effective video than oh, we just shot a couple shots of this product, or we just generated a few shots with AI for this product. There's so much more. So yeah, I think marrying those 2 things is where success is found.
Can you tell me any recent campaigns about production? I'd really sort of love to know more in depth what really goes into the production, which, somebody like me who doesn't come in contact with it a lot, and maybe business owners as well, might not know the ins and outs.
Yeah, I mean, every client is a little different, but generally speaking, let's just say it's a new client with a new industry. Typically, we're just doing our little discovery call, getting an understanding of who they are, what they're trying to accomplish. We talk very little about the creative itself and keep it more foundational of like, what are you actually trying to accomplish with this video content or campaign or whatever it is. And then keeping the conversations there. And then once we have like a Bible that we're all agreeing that we're going to live our life by, then we could start talking about the creative because the creative is always needs to support whatever the goal is for
Of
that
course, yeah.
campaign. So, that's where it starts, and then once it feels like we're aligned on, like, what the actual goal and purpose of what we're trying to create is, I mean, we start with usually just high level creative pitches where we're putting together a few, maybe 1 to 3 different ideas of here's some creative ideas of how we can actually make this content awesome and how can it accomplish your goals. And then once a client picks a direction or a concept from there, we start fleshing that out and then scripting it until we kind of leave no stone unturned with like what is actually going to be in the video. And then we go out and shoot it or create it if it's animation or AI or whatever that looks like. That's a very high level view of how we actually go about doing the production
And,
process.
and and what sort of budgets do you usually work with? Because I know there's production companies out there that would only touch like really shiny and big packages. So what do you usually do with your clients?
Yeah, so Historically, for my company, we do things anywhere between 15,000 to 300,000. We've worked
Hmm.
on bigger and smaller stuff. I think the direction we're going right now is so we'll just say like the lower tier in terms of just like, it's not like a specialty ad by any means. It's like something that we're looking to create quickly and cheaply. That's where like the AI service of what my company does is that's what that mostly is. And then we have like, I think there's going to be a bigger gap between those types of clients and the clients that are looking for something a lot more like specialty in terms of creative. So yeah, that's where we'll focus on more of the higher production value stuff. And so we kind of are doing both. We're not really, yeah, we're not focusing on like the big, we're not going for the Nikes. We're not going for the Coca-Colas. We're happy with our, you know, they're bigger brands, but they're maybe not like household name brands. So we'll focus on them, but it's more for, yeah, more advertising content for like online stuff.
Would you say that the smaller businesses or the mom and pop businesses usually go for that AI creative because it's like a smaller budget?
Definitely. I think so. Yes. So there's a lot of clients. I mean, there's clients that we've worked with that are just, we're doing like small projects to that for them throughout the year. And, they don't want to spend, let's just say by the end of the year, maybe they've spent $20,000 with us just with all the little tiny ads that have kind of added up. Like if it's like a retainer model, a lot of them are like, oh, wow, well, AI can spit out a higher volume and I could spend way less. I think they're definitely going for AI. I think what a lot of them are learning that like it's not as easy as just typing in a prompt and they're not really always getting the results they want, which is why we rolled out our AI service so we can use our expertise and like keep the costs low. So yes, it's mostly the small businesses. There are big businesses that are where they have like they create like a super high volume of content that they're kind of replacing like the influencer UGC type content with a lot of AI content, but a lot of that is kind of a one-to-one cost.
And what would you say, moving on to sort of the current state in the agency, what would you say is working really well that you're sort of happy and content with?
I mean, I've been really happy with how businesses have been going. I think staying on top of like that, these AI conversations has like really brought a lot of value to our clients. I've been happy with our retainer model. We've been implementing that in the past year where, there's some companies out there where they're not creating like one giant ad a year, but they're in need of creating like, let's just say a couple videos per quarter. And so we create custom retainers. Like it's not a one size fits all. Our industry's always changing and the needs of the clients are always changing. So our retainer model where they're paying quarterly, where we'll have like a year long retainer with them. S That's where we're seeing a lot of success lately. That way they have basically access to me and my whole team. So like a team of
Mhm.
like, 5 to 6 people, but it's for like the cost of like one salary employee. So it brings them a ton of value and, it's just yeah, that's been the model that's been
It's good to have
working out.
somebody at your disposal pretty much, but as and when you need it, that they're there, you have that retainer. Also makes it great for you because you don't have them feast and famine seasons a lot because in production it's usually projects, isn't it? That's why when we spoke previously, I was like, this is interesting. This makes it good for his business because you've got that sort of foundation that gives you that little bit of a flexibility.
Definitely. Yeah, the feast and famine model is felt throughout my whole
Mm.
industry. The retainers aren't always the best fit for every single type of client, but yeah, that is where I would like to focus more business on is just getting a little bit more retainer clients. And it's great. We try to operate as an extension of any client's team. We want to feel like an employee. We want to talk the way that they talk. We want to just be a chameleon to whatever they need. So the retainer is great because it just gives us a better opportunity to kind of saturate in their company a little bit longer so that
Yeah.
they feel like, okay, great. I have access to this person 24/7, whatever I need. And they have like a bank of content that they're allowed to create too. And it's great.
It's great on both sides, as you just clarified. Would you say there's any challenges in the agency space right now?
But yeah, it's nothing but challenges.
Would you
Yeah, I
say the
mean,
space is quite saturated? I mean, production specifically. I mean, I know marketing agencies are a whole different conversation.
yeah. Yeah, we work with a lot of marketing agencies, but we're not a marketing agency ourselves. We're just
Mhm.
a creative agency that mostly specializes in video production. Yeah, it's always changing. I mean, the AI scape is the cost of what that is always changing. The quality is always changing. The what people are looking for in terms of content is always changing. There's a lot of trends that people want to jump on for. I mean, yeah, it's just constant problem solving, which I love.
The next sort of subject I want to talk about is how do you get on conversations with your potential prospects?
Like, how do I get more business?
Yeah.
So the way, I mean, branding wise, my company is an agency, but it's very much connected to me and my skill sets and experience. So LinkedIn is probably the number one way that I get business. I'm pretty active on it, and most of my leads will be people that are reaching out to me as a person directly, and then I bring them to my business, and we go from there. I'm also old school, and I wasn't always this way, but I think sales in general, which I have a lot of sales experience, it's especially for like products and companies like mine, they're always done with just email marketing and just trying to get people digitally. I've been walking into businesses in person. So where I
Mm.
live
Oh,
locally
wow.
in Tennessee, and I mean, I travel a lot for work, especially in California. Like I'm actually going in person to companies that like company headquarters and just trying to get a meeting. Not no one does that in my industry. So it's
Wow.
not like
Yeah.
they're taking a bunch of different meetings from a bunch of different agents, like video production companies. And it's great. They get to meet me as a person. And so it's already a face to the name. And I'd way rather do that than put money to try to get run email ads to people that are just going to be thrown straight into spam. I know what it's like to get like nothing but spam messages for people trying to do business
Yeah.
with me, where it's just, I mean, I'm getting 20 messages a week. There's just no way to stand out and differentiate yourself. So going in person genuinely works. More time, but that has worked out really well for me.
And do you often find that that leads to clients?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I have a few clients currently where I just walked into their business, and maybe I'm not talking to them, the decision maker right away, but I'm just putting my foot in the door and just being bold and explaining who I am and what I do, and then talking to the decision maker from there.
Yeah,
So it's worked.
we're in such a digital world that actually that human connection is something that we really need and is missing from our lives now because everything's remote. Everything is.
Totally. I think the temptation is always like whatever everyone else is doing, I should just do that. But I think there is wisdom in like taking a pause and looking at what has historically worked, and don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like,
Yeah.
yes, I'm getting a lot of digital leads through my LinkedIn, and maybe I am reaching out to people on LinkedIn a lot of the time, talking about myself, trying to get sales and stuff. But you can do both. Just like how I'm not afraid of being just from like what I offer my clients, there are clients that still are gonna want, like, a high quality ad that they'll be willing to put a lot of money behind. Like, it's not like AI is going to replace everything that I do. I think there's wisdom in, like, no, keep doing what you're doing, what works, but, like, stay in as many keep your feet in as many, places as once, so,
Yeah, like basically doing it at scale, utilize AI as a tool, not as a replacement,
yeah,
to what you're doing. Very similar scenario with marketing agencies as well. It always goes back to the fundamentals, and that's the one thing they stick to, even though it's now applied to like a digital world. There's
mhm,
still the fundamentals you gotta, as you was just saying, that are very important and you gotta stick to.
for sure, and, like, what is success in terms of my product? Like, clients are coming to me because they're trying to create something that actually has results. Obviously, everyone says that, but, like, I need to be able to put a lot of effort and time into trying to make sure I get the results that the clients are actually looking for with the ads that I'm making. That's why like our conversation has so little to do with the actual creative itself, because I'm good at that. I can do that. I can create an ad, but we need to have conversations about what does success actually look like. So that's how I'm able to keep a lot of clients, and like I have a lot of repeat clients because a lot of the content actually performs well for them. So, you know, there's clients that are looking for just the coolest thing that's out there, and they're not really focused on performance. Those are not the type of clients that I'm going for. I'll say yes to them if they're willing to, if they want to do business together and it's like going to be easy, low hanging thing. Great, I'll go for it. But the best clients, and I would say the best people to work with long term, are focused on the actual results instead of the just what the product looks like. You know what I mean?
To be fair, it's something you mentioned before in regards to cold emails. It's this subject that keeps coming up from even marketing agencies. Is cold email dead? Is that something you have tried for your business beforehand?
I mean, like, it obviously works for some people. I've done a little bit of it and I've maybe gotten a tiny bit of business, but I just find that I'd way rather put my time, money, and effort into other ways of doing it.
Into
So,
walking into businesses, pretty much.
yeah, I mean, that's part of it. Yeah. But yeah, LinkedIn is the number one thing. I'm not gonna say that walking into businesses is the it's done great, but yeah.
What is your take? I mean, specifically, maybe with your clients as well. Have you gotten in contact with anyone who's sort of anti AI?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do tell.
We Yes, there are a lot of it's mostly creatives. There are a lot of people who are like me, who are, for good reason, afraid of AI, because they're like, "I don't wanna be replaced." And there are people that will I mean, I got handed a business card recently at a networking event by a a guy who's like I guess he's an editor and voiceover artist. He like does a couple different things. He's a creative and he's like and he handed me a card and at the top of the card in bold letters it says I do not use AI in any of my work as like a state as like a differentiator like yeah, see like I'm like you're going to want to work with me because I don't use AI. And
Mm.
like of course I didn't tell him but I'm looking at that and I'm like okay, I mean that's great for someone that's but like the people you're trying to work with are a prospective client is not going to be precious about whether AI is being used, generally speaking. A lot of creatives are just afraid of AI and they don't want to embrace it. But I've seen also a lot of creatives that see it as a great tool and embrace it and face a lot of success. I mean, just because the camera was invented doesn't mean that like painters were obsolete, but there were a lot of painters that embraced the technology that a camera brought. This has happened historically throughout, you can use it. There's 100 examples out there of people that are being replaced by new technology and then people who are utilizing that technology to make their skill sets better. I'm not in the video production business as in like it has to be shot on a camera. I'm trying to produce like high performing ads. So if I can use AI, I can use a camera. It doesn't really matter to me because
As
the
long as
tool
you
is
get
just a
your end
tool.
result. Yeah, I love that, and that's something that people tend to forget. There is this whole hype about AI, and it's sort of you positioning even the agencies that are positioned. I'm like, like I use AI. That's just a tool. The outcome is still the main part of the whole process that seems to be forgotten more and more now.
Mhm, 100%. I mean, there's clients I mean, I don't even have a conversation about, like, my process with clients of whether I use AI or not, like, it's just AI is such a broad thing, so what does that even mean to, "Oh, I use AI or I don't use AI?" Like you said it perfectly, it's the end results that should be measured, and so I don't even tell clients that I use AI or don't use AI. They're they're f- they're concerned with one thing. They're concerned with costs, they're concerned and accessibility. So if I can just give them more value in all three of those categories, then great. They don't care if AI is being used or not. I mean, I do we do talk about like creating AI video because most clients understand that as like, oh, that means it's probably cheaper and faster. Sharing that I make AI video for the sake of being like, isn't it cool that I use AI? It's all focused on like the end value that it's bringing the client.
I love a great discussion. Even be disagreeing on like we have different sort of overviews of things. Tell me why do you have that opinion? I am naturally curious, right? Because there's a reason why you've come to that decision.
For sure. Man, I would love to debate with a creative that's in a similar space as me about why AI is okay. I mean, there's people that have like ethical issues with it, which, yeah, I get that. Like, if we're just stealing other people's artistic work and then training AI on that, yeah, I mean, that's been a huge conversation in the creative space. But yeah, I mean, this is just what the world is. We can accept it and embrace it and then figure out a ways to like ethically go about it and give our clients our best and scale our business, or we can be afraid of it or just precious about something that's already changed. And so,
Mhm.
there was when the digital camera was invented. So there was back in California, there was a cinematographer that I met who was a lot he was a very he was a lot older for the type of people that we normally work with. I think he was in his late 50s, and he refused to switch to digital. He was on VHS tapes, which is just hilarious. But he was like, "Ah, digital, I just like I don't know, I just never really learned it." And he's like, "I'd rather do VHS tapes because that's the cheapest." And he's like, "I also shoot on film as well." I mean, VHS is crappy quality, but film is like a niche market. Like, I'm not saying there's no value in that. I think there will always be like a market for that. It'll be small, but there are people that like shooting on film. But he just refused to like take on something because he's like, digital has no character to it, and he doesn't get work. So I mean, so you can stay back in time, or you can just get with the
Yeah.
times. I'm personally terrified of being obsolete to my clients because I'm like refusing to embrace, you know,
Right.
current technology. Like I'm every week, every Monday usually is dedicated to me like looking up software, learning new software, figuring out like what are other people doing. I want to stay on top of it. I want to be relevant. And so that's just the only way of doing it.
What is the plan for you in this new 2026 year?
Yeah, so I mean like I said, so AI generated ads is something that we're offering and have pretty much formally rolled out at this point. But with that being said, there's like the stuff that I've specialized in the past, like specialty, like high quality ads. I don't think that market is going away. I think I'm probably going to have like a bigger gap between those two things as the year goes on, but I plan on servicing the clients that are looking for more like high volume, lower cost ads while also like specializing in like niche markets. Still trying to figure out what those different industries are. I mean, I've told you before, but I've done a lot in the real estate, ton in e-commerce, we've been doing a lot with like startups, a lot with med tech, just tech startups in general. So yeah, I think eventually, hopefully by the end of this year, we'll kind of figure out what industries we want to specialize in. I mean, I'm the type of person that's interested in like everything. So for me, it's like easy to get interested in all this
Mhm.
stuff. But I think eventually to just differentiate ourselves, we'll probably hone in and focus on one specific industry or like a couple different industries and dig a little bit narrow and
Yeah,
deep.
yeah.
But
I was gonna say many creative, agencies are sort of scared to niche down because they're sort of limited, right, to the creative they can do.
yeah, I mean, I've heard of other companies like mine, they have, like, their main parent company, and then they create, like, 6 or 10 different brands underneath it that, like, service different industries. Like, if I'm in the real estate industry and I visit a video production company and it says, "We specialize specifically in real estate," it's like, "Great, I'm gonna be way more likely to work with you than I am with a
Yeah.
company that's like, 'We do everything.'" But a lot of companies, they do everything, they just have, like, different, landing pages for different industries, which we do that, but eventually I'd like to hone in a little bit more.
And I'm guessing getting more than retainer clients you were talking about.
Yeah, more retainer clients. I think specifically for startups. So a lot of startups, especially when they're like in their early funding stages, they might have like a decent amount of funding and they have the money to spend on like higher quality video content. And a lot of startups, at least startups I've worked with, they're not selling like a physical product necessarily. It's usually more of like like if you're a med tech company, it's more focused on like, their service or their software or whatever. And so that's where I'd like to hone in a little bit more this year because they really need to they're likely not going to benefit from like AI ads. They have the money to spend on a higher quality ad. Usually we're needing to interview, the CEO or the founder or any of the important stakeholders in the company, all the executives, stuff like that. So we've done projects like that in the past for startups that are they're basically like they just want to roll out their company as like, hey, we are here and we just finished our, series A funding and this is what our company does. And they want to make sure that their first impression to,
Mhm.
the world is impressive. And so
Sort
I
of
think there's a
loud
lot
and
of
clear, isn't it?
exactly. And that I think there will always be a need for video content for companies like that because it's mostly just people on camera talking and with B-roll and stuff. I'm trying to like elevate that and not keep it like boring and corporate. I'm really wanting to create which later this year, not to get ahead of myself, but we're in talks of working with a company that is a startup company that the video could be amazing if we
Yeah.
go about it in the way that we've been talking about back and forth. So I'm not gonna share who that is, but yeah, there's a lot of companies out there that really wanna, like, make a big wave when they announce that, like, my company is here, and so, yeah, that's who we'll be focusing on, and they're great for retainer clients.
Ah,
That's
mhm,
mainly who
awesome.
that would be for.
So it's not just the project, it's also that retainer possibility.
Yeah. Usually would start with one project. That's how I mean, no one wants to sign up for a retainer. I mean, we have evidence that, like, we're good at what we do and we have, like, our made a lot of projects, but usually they like to kind of dip their foot in the pool first and kind of get
Oh,
used to
yeah.
it before, like yeah, they wanna date for a little bit before we get married.
Yeah, go for a coffee dates or something, yeah, before they get
Exactly.
married.
Yeah, exactly.
So the growth you just mentioned now, what do you think would be the one bottleneck that would stop you from getting there? So if you had a magic wand and you would go like poof, you would get rid of it and it would help you to get to your goal much quicker.
I think sales would be the number one bottleneck. Sales
Mm.
have been going well, but for yeah, that's the one kind of hurdle we're trying to figure out like, okay, how do we actually like get a higher volume of sales? It's been enough to keep the lights on and like the business is growing, but I'm really wanting to kind of explode in the next 5 years if possible. I mean,
Yeah, I love
hopefully I mean,
that.
I'm sure everyone feels that way, but yeah, sales is kind of the one thing I'm trying to think through, like, how do we increase that? I think my role will probably slowly shift to, like, mostly sales and just running the accounts and just client relationships and then bringing on the right people for the job. I mean, I'm kinda doing that already, but I'm still pretty far in the weeds as far as, like, the creative goes, and so, yeah, I think that's the biggest bottleneck.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a business and you're not thinking about growth, then why do you have a business in the first place, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty close with a few different production companies out here in Tennessee and in California as well, and that's their biggest thing. It's they're so focused working in the business instead of on the
Oh,
business, and so, I mean, you've heard that phrase before.
I
So
have a whole podcast about that, yeah.
oh, yeah, I'd love to hear that episode, but, yeah, it's hard. I think you really need to be 50/50. So, for me, I'm like, I try to put as much effort as I can into, like, getting sales, and even if we have a lot of sales on the horizon, I'm trying to, like, think through, like, "Okay, well, in 3 months from now, I've got nothing coming up
Mhm.
other
So
than
you're
maybe
already
some retainer
thinking
clients."
ahead. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where retainers would be great because then it's like we're signing, like, contracts, and the cool part about retainer clients is if we do bring the value that we're saying that we bring to them, which we do,
Mm.
and are, um, they're likely to repeat. And so those sales will kind of just like be more consistent. And then we can get out of that feast and famine model. And then we can actually like come up with projections and being like, great, we have an X amount of retainers for, 2027. We know that we're going to have this much revenue,
Mhm,
when it's all
mhm.
said and done. So that's where I'd like to put a lot more effort. But that's the
Yeah.
biggest bottleneck.
Awesome. Luke, thank you for being so open and providing so much value. If people wanted to connect with you, find out more about your services, where should they look?
I would always say, come to LinkedIn. You can go to my website, but yeah, hit me up on LinkedIn and we'll have a conversation there. That's the best place to reach me.